What's up, A to Z Sports live on this Wednesday, and we're having a topic and a show that we weren't necessarily planning on having yet, but the NFL is forcing us to talk about it. A trade frenzy on yesterday, Tuesday, saw 3 trades in the NFL. There was one on Monday, but that makes us kind of pay attention to the Titans' tradable assets and which players could the Titans be moving before the trade deadline on November 5th. We've got a lot coming up here. Sam did a great job working through an article yesterday. We're going to lean on that quite a bit and ask you guys, who is the most tradable player the Titans have on the roster? And how many of these guys do we think are, one, legitimately tradable, and two, do we think will actually be moved? And so there's a lot of demand questions. Is there a buyer for some of these? So we'll go through a lot of different players, Easton, 7 Titans in particular today. We're going to have some conversation about, and then it's a Wednesday, which means sports trivia. We've been slumping pretty bad. So I think we need to, just like,
No. It's a bounce back day. Don't worry about it. Big bounce back.
Colts game should have been a get right game for the Titans offense. It was not. This is a get right trivia day for us, Easton. So what's going on? Welcome the people in here and tell them what they got to do.
Yeah, good morning, Austin. Good morning to all of you watching with us live this morning. Appreciate you being here with us on a Wednesday. Help us out. Hit that like button on Facebook, on YouTube. It's that little thumbs up button right below our ugly mugs. Hit like for us. It's extremely helpful. Do it right now. Thank you. Make sure you're copying that link, sending it to a buddy. Tell them, get in here. Start your morning right. Let's talk about some Titans and whether or not they should sell as the trade deadline is slowly approaching us here. But the Titans have tradable assets, and today we're going to talk all about how tradable those guys are and whether or not we think that they should put them on the block the next 3 weeks. So looking forward to it.
Yep, let's get it going. Officially welcome into A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Easton Freeze, one of our Titans reporters for A to Z Sports.com, and we are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Link to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors. They make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get a better rate for your health coverage at fbhp.com/ATOZ. And TDOTs. Make them a part, or you can be a part of the solution to end littering across Tennessee, visiting nobodytrashestennessee.com. So, Easton, we had other plans for today's topic.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, while Zach and I were on the show live, Davante Adams gets traded to the Jets. And then throughout the day, more trades happen. And so we had to do this, right? This is the time for it to happen. So the NFL trade frenzy that was yesterday, kind of take us through your thoughts on these 3 moves that all have to do with AFC teams to some extent. But what were your thoughts on what Tuesday represented across the league?
Right. So Davante going to the Jets, it didn't really surprise anybody, right? We've been talking about this for a while. He's Aaron's boy. Of course, that was going to happen. And I do love how, listen, anybody that is really familiar with the science of soft tissue injuries, which Adams was dealing with the past 3 weeks, knows that if the person with the injury simply wants it to get better, it will heal significantly faster. And turns out Adams about to play this week. So convenient there. And then the Titans' upcoming opponent in the Bills, they go in, they trade for Amari Cooper, kind of a mid-season arms race there in the AFC East between the two teams vying for that title. That's a really big move. And I as much as I do like Davante to the Jets because of that connection with Rodgers, I love Amari Cooper to the Bills for the Bills. I think Amari Cooper still got it. I think he's an underrated receiver. I think that not only is he going to be awesome on his own for Josh Allen, but he's going to be a force multiplier because the other receivers on that Bills team who are talented, they all kind of needed to be knocked down a peg in terms of role. And now they get to be. And I think that passing attack becomes a lot better in a hurry. I think that it becomes a lot more well-rounded. And that's a big deal for, the Titans having to, I wrote an article yesterday, which you can go read. It's the kind of the glass half full, glass half empty elements of the Titans now having to face Amari Cooper. There are both, but ultimately it's going to make the Titans test tougher. And then the ugly runt of the group yesterday was Cam Akers getting sent to the Vikings, which is, also a trade, conditional 6th round pick to the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
So good for Houston. And like maybe more, a more similar example to some of the things the Titans could do in terms of compensation, in terms of the caliber of player being sent away. The Texans just continuing to get some picks for a guy who, is a viable runner, and they have Joe Mixon back healthy now, so they don't need him.
And the Vikings traded for Cam Akers last year too.
That's right. They just keep going back to the well.
Damn
Cam
it.
Akers.
This isn't working. Call Cam. Call Cam's people and see if Cam come back. So a lot of trades. The NFL trade deadline is coming up in now less than 3 weeks. 3 weeks from yesterday. So I think that's the deadline, right? Like now we've seen the last couple of years that once they move the trade deadline back in the NFL season, these GMs are starting to use it more throughout the month of October once you settle into who's a seller and who is a buyer, and find some opportunities where guys can get moved more like other sports in professional sports, and where the NFL has been the least tradable type of a league, but now it's not anymore. And so we've identified 10 players on the Titans that are either tradable or not tradable, but there are 10 players that will be a topic of conversation, whether by Titans fans, Titans media, or by other NFL fans, other NFL media on this Titans roster. We're going to go through 7 of those today specifically. We have left 3 off of our in-show conversation because I don't necessarily think those guys are going to be moved. They're probably the least likely of the 10 to be moved. I'll go ahead and name them. I don't think Tony Pollard's going anywhere. They like him way too much. And Tajay Spears has now gotten hurt again. Tajay Spears has left the game twice due to injury in the first 5 games of the season. So Tony Pollard's not going anywhere. He's only the person who can do anything consistently for you. I also don't think Amani Hooker is going anywhere at this point.
They also like him.
They also very much like him. And I don't think Arden Key is going anywhere. Not
nobody
because they don't, because nobody wants him.
They like him, and nobody wants him.
And he is not a topic of conversation. I don't honestly like Arden Key flashes when I watch the Titans defense. He doesn't like finish any play or really do much like in the stat sheet.
Yeah, I'm being unfair. The last 2 games of his in particular have been better. And he's a useful player to the Titans right now. So I'm being mostly facetious, and I'm sorry if Arden is for some reason watching this, which he isn't. But I'm with you that ultimately they're not going to move him.
Yeah, right. But we do have 7 to talk about. So
that's right. It's a lot of players.
Before we dive into any of them, let's go ahead and ask the question, because we're here. We might as well just ask it.
What is the question, Austin?
The question is, who is the Titans' most tradable asset?
Okay.
Like the number, like if there is one guy that has the most trade value, who is it? Mm-hmm. Who is the most tradable asset?
Well, so is that the criteria? Just the most valuable player on the team, or the guy that you could
tradable? So I think we asked Sam and I went through this yesterday morning, mm-hmm. and we decided, okay, in order to be tradable, what has to happen? You have to be a good enough player.
Yep.
To where there is a buyer for you, or intriguing enough to where there is demand or a buyer for you in this trade.
Right.
And 2, the contract situation has to be good enough for the team that is the buyer mm-hmm. to take it and be good with it. Mm-hmm. And so I think those are really the 2 main, and then the Titans have to be willing to part ways. And I think it's willing to part ways because the compensation is solid enough, because the player does have a buyer, and 2, it helps them out financially in the future. And this year's salary cap, to be damned, nobody cares, but it's about the future salary implication. So who is the most tradable asset the Titans currently have? We're going to go through the chat because there's a lot of comments flying in here. So give us your player, the most tradable asset the Titans have. I'll tell you guys all about Farm Bureau health plans where you can trade out your old or current health coverage plan for the better one in Farm Bureau Health Plans. You can get better with your health, dental, and vision with Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get a quote today by visiting our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. They've served Tennesseans for 78 years across the state. It's a long time. A lot of things change over those 78 years. Like technology is insane. If you go back 78 years ago, and Farm Bureau Health Plan's been doing it the entire time because they adapt, they get better, they treat you better, they invest in their community, whether it's in pro sports teams like the Titans, colleges like the Vols, or high school and youth sports around your local community. Farm Bureau Health Plans is everywhere, making sure that they take care of their people, because their people are our people. It's Tennesseans running Tennesseans. So make sure that you get a better coverage and a better rate for your health coverage. fbhp.com/ATOZ with Farm Bureau Health Plans.
I love finding pictures of like your hometown from 50, 70 years ago. And you're like, holy cow, that's what this place used to look like. We're also brought to you this morning by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. They're an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. And if you sign up today using our bonus code ATOZ Sports, they are going to give you up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. So ensure that first bet with BetMGM, whether you're cheering the Titans on at the stadium or watching the game at your favorite Music City sports bar. You're always going to be in on the action because that BetMGM app is right in the palm of your hand. Nothing better than a Titans win, which we are still looking for out here. And there's nothing like the thrill of winning at BetMGM. Enjoy the best parlay selection options, boosted odds specials, daily promotions, so much more. Download that app today. Use our bonus code ATOZ Sports. Get that money back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win, and experience the football season like never before.
All right, Easton, I will have you go through the chat. There's a lot of comments about it. But first, I do want to say, the question again, who is the most tradable asset? Now, King VC says, lock in like the show, and it's D-Hop. He says DeAndre Hopkins, automatically out of the gates. But lock in like the show. If you haven't liked the show yet, please do that on Facebook and YouTube. Easton, what are the other answers to the most tradable asset? We want one, not two, not three. Who is the singular most tradable asset the Titans currently have?
So naturally, there's a lot of DeAndre Hopkins in the chat, like from Duron Lee and Curtis and Major Leagues with Hopkins. Joshua says Hopkins. A couple of other people like Corey say it's Simmons. Eric thanks Radens for, what I don't.
Radens is not about one of our seven.
It's not a crazy idea, actually. I was about to make fun of you, Eric, but you know what? You might be cooking.
Can we pause? Because Dylan Radens, one, is not the answer to the question. Like, he is not the
No,
most
he's not. He's
asset.
not. He's not.
But is he a tradable asset? I think yeah, but like the Titans have been trying to get offensive linemen to develop and play well for such a long time. Why would they give one away who's actually playing well?
Right. But in terms of people actually wanting Radens for the first time in his career, the answer might actually be yes.
He's got an expiring contract, which is part of the, what goes into is he a tradable asset and a buyable asset from somebody else? Yes,
you've got
he
Daniel
is.
Brunskill who can play that position. I'm just saying.
I think Dylan Radens is on an audition. Dylan Radens could play himself into an extension and overcome the bust label as a second-round pick.
I'm just saying, Eric, not as crazy as it might seem on the surface there. Maserati says it's D-Hop. Duran says get that receiver to Patrick Mahomes and let those guys cook. A lot of D-Hop and Jeff are the two most popular answers here. Low down says Ernest Jones, but he does not want to lose him. Fair enough. Jeff, Simmons, trade Jeff for an edge rusher. Good luck with that. Yeah. It's mostly I'm looking for non-Jeff and Hopkins answers and not finding them. So those are our picks here.
It looks like it's between those two for the most part. There are some other guys in there that are being lumped into most tradable.
Right.
So my answer is not one of those two guys, actually.
Okay.
Is your answer one of those two guys?
It is, but I'm here with an open mind and an open heart today, so I'm willing to hear you out.
I want to hear which of those two that you think is the most tradable asset for the Titans.
Yeah, I mean, it's Hopkins. It's a boring answer, but that's in terms of what the rest of the league desires, the tradability of the contract, the impact that a player like him at his position can have on a contending team that considers themselves contending, that just needs a piece. They need, an over the hump kind of guy. Two of the three trades we saw yesterday, all three were for skill position players, and two of them were for receivers, and aging receivers at that. guys that are savvy veterans, volume players, get a bucket guys. That's DeAndre Hopkins. So like, I know it's the boring answer, but in my heart, it is the correct answer. And if I'm looking at like trying to identify specific teams that would be in the market to trade for somebody and could use a player like Hopkins, he's the player on this team that I can find the most connections for pretty easily.
Okay, and that's interesting because that's where I wanted to go next and have a conversation about DeAndre Hopkins, because when Sam and I put together the article exercise for yesterday, the question is identifying Titans players that are going to be topics of trade conversations and basically answering the question, are they tradable? Yes or no? And the answer on DeAndre Hopkins is absolutely yes. Leading up to the season, we know that we talked about a contract extension in training camp. He gets hurt. He's got an expiring contract. All the things you just mentioned. He's 32. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's still very good. He's gotten healthier and he looks like he's healthy. So yes, DeAndre Hopkins is very, very much tradable this year. He's also one of the top 5 players in salary cap hit. So with his base salary, the Titans would save some cash this year by trading him on an expiring contract. Very little dead money, if any at all, after this year for D-Hop. So you brought up who would be buying him, right? Because yesterday we see 2 receivers go, with it being Devontae Adams and Amari Cooper.
Right.
Now, so 2 teams have filled the receiver void in the trade market thus far. Who do you see that, right? I think the Chiefs are the automatic,
super easy, obvious, right.
So let's look at that, because there is a interesting domino effect or chain reaction, if you will, of why I actually think the Chiefs will not trade for DeAndre Hopkins because of one of the moves made yesterday. And that is because of, and it's going to sound crazy. But the Kansas City Chiefs have not won a Super Bowl without MVS. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling is available.
I love that you think bringing in MVS would prohibit you from also bringing in
let me just, because I'm saying this to troll you guys slightly, and then I'm actually going to bring you into why this is actually legitimate.
I'm listening.
Because the Chiefs also were in need of a running back. What they do? Brought back an old friend, Kareem Hunt.
Right.
The Chiefs now need a wide receiver.
And Juju, by the way, right? Brought back the ghost of.
Yep. That was my next line. Line. You got it.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. The Kansas City Chiefs like bringing back their own people. And they passed on DeAndre Hopkins last summer. They didn't want to offer up enough money to pay him. They'd be paying what the Titans offered him up last year. And so Marquez Valdez-Scantling got cut by the Buffalo Bills after the Amari Cooper trade.
Right. Huge for the Titans. They dodge MVS this week. Massive.
Yeah, right. No, but MVS was not good with the Bills. He has been very good with the Chiefs.
MVS is not good. He is not good, period.
But the Chiefs, the correct stat. The Chiefs
get the most out of a bad player.
The Chiefs have not won a Super Bowl without MVS on the roster. And they like bringing back their old guys to fit because they don't think they have to spend. They were willing to get rid of L'Jarius Sneed because they didn't have to. They got guys at home. And they've got Marquez Valdez-Scantling open and available to bring in with Kareem Hunt and Juju Smith-Schuster and all these other guys. They don't have this. I'm being dead serious. I know you are. Serious.
You're just being silly.
Because I am not being serious. I'm not being silly. I'm being serious.
Freudian slip.
No silliness here. Because Charles Goldman, who's one of our managing editors of AtoZSports.com, is our Chiefs insider. This is the Chiefs' belief. They don't think they have to trade for DeAndre Hopkins because they can just re-sign Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Okay.
Because they just re-signed Juju. Because they just re-signed Kareem Hunt.
That's dumb, but if they think that, that's fine.
That is the Chiefs' philosophy. They don't care. They don't have to have him. And so, if the Chiefs, and I'm being dead serious, guys.
Austin, we know you're being serious. We know you are. It's okay.
Oh, yeah. Austin's on that stuff coming in here from TJ. No,
we know you're being serious, but we're not taking you seriously. That's the difference.
But you should, because I'm telling you what the Chiefs insider for A to Z Sports believes.
I get it.
And so if the
Chiefs are being silly,
if the Chiefs are not willing to trade for DeAndre Hopkins, who is the other buyer?
Right. By the way, MVS was on the Chiefs last year. He had 21 receptions. Huge impact player. Okay, so let's just. I just pulled up a list of the entire league standings. So the Chiefs are at the top there, 5-0. So are the Vikings. Vikings don't need them, right? Texans, they're loaded with receivers. Detroit, kind of interesting. I don't think that they need him, but they are a team that I think they're absolutely going to be buyers here before the deadline. And if they wanted to load up with guys, I don't think it's it really depends on whether or not they think that this is the year that help me out here, former Bama player.
Jameson.
Jameson Williams. The year that the JMO comes on, Atlanta doesn't need him. The Commanders, I don't think, need him. They're getting the most out of their players besides Terry McLaurin. Now, if they wanted to load up and add another really valuable player in the receiving game alongside Terry, I don't think it's crazy. I don't think it's crazy for the Ravens to want to add somebody outside of Zay Flowers. Zay's he's a good player. He's got a kind of unique skill set. And then outside of him in the receiving game, it's kind of like, Buffalo obviously would have been there, but they just made that move. The Steelers, we don't need to talk about that. Tampa Bay does not need him. Green Bay does not need him. Chicago does not need him. So you're right. After yesterday's trades, the list is dwindling. That's totally fair. That's totally fair.
Thank you, Andre.
Here's one. Here's one, by the way.
Okay.
Here's one, by the way.
Okay.
Last one. Chargers. The Chargers need help in the receiving game. The AFC is kind of wide open. They're sitting at 3-2. I genuinely don't think it's crazy for that. Maybe not D-Hop, but I think that they are going to consider a receiving asset in the next 3 weeks. I do.
What's the date of the Titans-Chargers game? Isn't it like November 10th?
Yeah, it's at the back half. It's pretty late.
So that's not happening because they're not going to trade DeAndre Hopkins right before they play against the Chargers and DeAndre Hopkins.
They sent Malik Willis to the Packers and he beat them. So
yeah, but that was as a backup.
I don't know, man.
That was a backup when Jordan Love was healthy and all that stuff, right?
I don't think teams.
And
take
Andre,
that
thank you, Andre, for understanding my point. It's not about MVS being good. It's about the Chiefs don't have to do it.
It's about the Chiefs thinking they don't have to do it. Let's be clear.
Because they haven't had to do it the whole freaking time. Because they don't. They've proven they don't have to do it.
So far, they've not had to do it.
Yes. And that's their arrogance. It's their cockiness, but it has been earned and deserved because they are the back-to-back Super Bowl champs, and they are currently undefeated with
right.
Juju
and last year they barely
Kareem
didn't need to do it. In that in large part, they got carried through the postseason by their awesome defense and their awesome defensive coordinator. This year they have a even worse receiving core and a worse defense. So,
but it's still a good defense, and they're gonna. And look, last year they were not 5-0 at this point.
Do you? And I'm not saying it's impossible for this team to win a Super Bowl because you have Patrick Mahomes, and I don't care what the rest of the team looks like. If you have Patrick, you are capable of doing it.
Yes.
Right. But, what are the margins they want? They're facing down a three-peat, the first to ever do it in the NFL. Do you want razor thin margins? Because that's what you're currently sitting on. The razorist thinnest margins.
I just think that they are so cocky that they honestly
and it will eventually be their downfall. So that's
they passed on D-Hop.
Listen,
last
I
year.
don't want DeAndre Hopkins to go to the Chiefs, to be clear. If I was in the Chiefs building, I obviously I would trade for him. But I think the rest of the NFL should make a blood pact and say, we're not sending the Chiefs anybody ever. Ever.
That's a good point because who's going to sell to the Chiefs because it never works out for the whole league. That's a great point. I don't want the Titans to trade DeAndre Hopkins because I think he just has really good community value.
Totally. I don't want him to trade either.
You know what the Titans need right now? Community value because they are about to piss off everybody.
PR time. Let's do some outreach.
Like literally, what has DeAndre Hopkins done the last 2 weeks? He has hosted songwriters nights at Friends in Low Places in their secret club, special club on Broadway. And he is out there doing stuff with local coffee companies. And so
Loki's kind of running for mayor of the town. Like this guy's got an awesome campaign cooking.
Yeah. Like Sam and I were at his football camp. They got stormed out and he went extra 4 hours and moved to the bubble. Like DeAndre Hopkins has never been more invested in the city of Nashville. And now he is like, according to the majority of the people watching the show in Easton, the most tradable asset the Titans have.
It sucks. It's true. But I don't think he wants to move, and I don't think the Titans want to move him. But at the end of the day, it's a business, right? You got to make decisions for the future.
Without a doubt. I don't think DeAndre Hopkins is the most tradable asset.
Now to be clear, just to be super clear, you do believe we agree that he is quite tradable. You just don't think he's the most tradable.
Top 3 tradable asset. He might be number 2.
Okay,
but he's not my number 1
then. All right.
Well, Jeffrey Simmons is also not my number 1. He would be my number 3. I think Jeffrey Simmons is very tradable. But there's more salary cap and future financial implications on the Titans and on the team that accepts him via trade. And so I think he is a more difficult trade to execute because I think his price, the Titans would have fairly high. I think he would be a higher price than D-Hop because of the player and the age and the contract. I think the Titans would have to eat money. They would save $8 million, but they'd have I think 12 to 13 dead down the line on this, and they wouldn't be saving as much overall for moving Jeff. And the Titans would probably want a day 2 draft pick in return for Jeffrey Simmons.
Yep.
And I don't know if that is a likely realistic possibility. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you said he's like a top 3, number 3 for you. He's not. Yeah. I don't think Jeff is very tradable at all, personally.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't. It's like everybody's played fantasy before. It's like when your guy just puts up 2 duds in a row, and he's like a guy you drafted in the first or second round, and it just like the vision is still there. You still think highly of them, but then all the vultures in your league start sending you, softball trades, try to get you to panic, sell low on a guy. That's what the Titans would be doing right now with Jeff. I don't think when they come to the table with any Jeff suitors, they would be, like you said, anywhere close on value to where the suitor was. So I don't think that they're going to move him because I don't think that anybody's going to be close to the number they need, because it's a sell low spot right now, and they're not going to panic sell Jeff Simmons. There's also the financial implications, which are important. So I don't, just logistically in terms of it actually happening, I don't think he's very tradable at all.
Really?
I don't. I mean, I'm not saying he is untradeable. He obviously, if a team, because my theory goes out the window if some team does value him highly and comes to the table with a pick that is in the ballpark of what the Titans want. Obviously, it takes is one, right? You got to have one suitor to make it happen. I just really doubt that there is anybody that's anywhere near the price point for him that the Titans would be comfortable taking.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people really, really like Jeffrey Simmons, and I think that it's almost like Ran Carthon last year could trade away either Kevin Byard or Derrick Henry, but Ran Carthon would have a massive detriment to his approval rating if he let both go.
Right, not a first-year move for a GM.
Yes, and so I don't know if you can sacrifice Kevin Byard as long as you don't trade away Derrick Henry and you allow for week 18 to beat the Jags, and you allow for that moment to be had, even if people are going back on their belief and thinking they should have kept him, right? But so
any given Sunday, Jeffrey Simmons jerseys are the most common current player jersey in the stadium, not close.
I agree on that. All right. So now let's get to who I think is the most tradable asset the Titans have.
I really don't know where you're going here. I've been sitting here trying to guess, and I'm racking my brain. I don't know. So I'm
good. All right. Well, first, let me tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute. Another thing about Big Jeff is he's currently got a torn MUCL in his elbow. And I know that doesn't mean anything necessarily for Jeff's season, because we talked about that with Dr. Ian Byram, who is a shoulder and elbow expert at the Bone and Joint Institute. But hey, the Titans buyer on Jeff Simmons might be, hey, what's going on with this elbow? But whenever an injury happens for you in life, you can go to the Bone and Joint Institute in Franklin off of I-65 and Highway 96 and make sure you get the best people to take care of you with the best resources and the best technology all under one roof. That's boneandjointtn.org. Whenever that injury happens in life, and it does happen in life, you can make sure you get the best in the area. They've got physical therapy clinics all around Williamson County and continuing to grow. It's who I've trusted when I've had an injury, whether it was my knee tendonitis back in the spring. I got prescribed for 12 physical therapy sessions. Only needed 7 before I graduated and got my Bone and Joint Institute t-shirt. So they will make sure that you get healthy whenever that injury pops up in life, and go see them, boneandjointtn.org.
We're also brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook board in Vegas. All you have to do is sign up with our bonus code ATOZ Sports today, and our friends at BetMGM are going to hook you up with an insured first bet up to $1,500. So if your first bet is a little bit on the bold side, doesn't quite cash for you, it's no sweat, baby. You got $1,500 back in your pocket, up to $1,500 back in your pocket in bonus bets if it does not hit. So swing for the fences on that first bet with BetMGM using our bonus code ATOZ Sports.
All right, so we're going through the Titans' most tradable assets. Most of the chat believes that between the two players, DeAndre Hopkins and Jeffrey Simmons, those are the most tradable assets the Titans have. But Easton, those are my second and third most tradable players the Titans have.
Mm-hmm.
The most tradable asset the Tennessee Titans have is Harold Landry. I think Titans fans should start to prepare yourself to say goodbye to Harold Landry.
Okay.
Harold Landry is...
This is not crazy, by the way. I think this is...
Harold Landry is so tradable.
He's number 3 on my list, so...
He is number... No, he should be number 1. He's about to be number 1.
I understand you think that. I'm telling you he's number 3 on my list.
Fair. Harold Landry has zero guaranteed money left on his contract after this year.
Mm-hmm.
The team that trades for Harold Landry, all they would be fully committing to is to pay him roughly $1 million per game the rest of this season. That's it. That's all, because he's got 2 years left on his deal for $17.5 million of base salary per year. But if the Lions, who just had their best pass rusher shatter his leg in half on national TV, want an edge rusher, would you? And Aiden Hutchinson's going to be fine in 2025, right? That's what they say. Every surgery is successful. If they want to rent Harold Landry for $1 million a game and then not have to pay him anything after that, the Lions can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
And Harold Landry is at a position of value, a sack getter, an effector of the quarterback, an edge rusher who's playing good football, and he's basically a easy rentable player. And I think Harold Landry is he is within his last month of playing for the Tennessee Titans. And the Titans can still have a good defense and build around that defense for the future with moving Harold Landry, just like they did Kevin Byard. They have a good defense right now, right?
Right.
They trade away Kevin Byard.
Very good defense right now.
Yeah, number 1 statistically. I think it's a fake number 1 defense, but it's still number 1 in yards.
I think there's still a top 10 defense in the league right now, in my opinion.
No, yeah, for sure. And so you overcame moving on from your best defensive player and leader in Byard last year, and I think you do it again. Yeah. And he's also got value because of the position he plays. So I think the Titans can get something legitimately back for Harold Landry. And now the Titans don't have to pay him $17.5 million next year and $17.5 million the year after that. All you got to do is eat the $13.1 million of dead cap on the signing bonus that you already have paid him. Mm-hmm. So $13 million of dead money is not that much. The Titans' dead money is very clean right now.
They're flexible.
Yeah. So Harold Landry is the number 1 most valuable and most tradable asset the Titans have. I think he's gone.
Yeah, this is a good take. The financials of it it's total green light for a trade. You mentioned the positional value in terms of, I mentioned with my DeAndre Hopkins argument, the type of player contending teams that feel like they're a piece away are looking for this time of year. I think the list is receiver, edge rusher, and then everybody else. Like those are the two that are most commonly looked for teams just trying to. Those guys are the sprinkle on top of the cake. That's the icing that you're trying to put on your contending.
I think running back and corner can kind of go into that too.
I don't think they're up there, but I don't think they touch receiver and edge rusher.
No, because because it's like those guys are immediately game changing to where it's like, hey, can you win a one-on-one matchup?
They're the easiest plug and play game changer. Totally. So and to your point, there are teams out there, just like in the receiving market yesterday, you saw some of those dominoes fall. There are teams out there that need edge rusher help, and the Lions are, just like the Chiefs are the super obvious answer for DeAndre Hopkins. The Lions are a super obvious answer for Harold Landry. I saw in my timeline this morning, send Harold Landry straight up for Hendon Hooker, which is a crazy thing to wake up to. No.
Well, but I know A to D Sports Detroit Lions beat writer Mike Payton is currently in the kitchen cooking something up that includes Harold Landry in the Lions.
Well, so, God hope it doesn't include that 1-for-1 trade, because that's outrageous.
I don't think he does anything 1-for-1. So I think it's going to be. I think we're going to have like a feast from Mike Payton's kitchen that comes out on the internet here soon.
Well, and in all seriousness, if and when the Titans do move anybody, Harold Landry or anybody, their focus obviously should not be players in return. It should be picks in return. Like that's all they should want. They should say no to any toss-ins for players. They should be toss-ins of a 2026 third round, fourth round pick, right? That's what they are in the market for. So I think it's a good take, and he is he's like the biggest thing for me, because we're looking at trying to check off the boxes of tradability, right? This the financial situation makes sense. Yep, green light. Is there value at his position in the trade market this time of year? Yep, check mark. Are there teams out there that could use a player like him right now? Yep, check mark. And then that fourth box for me is, can the Titans reasonably think we'll be fine without him? Yes, green check. Why, Austin? Because we talk about how they have a very good defense so far. You know what they've also not had any of so far? A pass rush, and it hasn't mattered. It hasn't mattered. They've not really had a. Now, will it actually impact the team? Will they have a worse pass rush without him? 100%. Yes, totally.
Because yeah.
But the point is, this defense is built to be able to survive without getting consistent pressure on the quarterback. They have proven that so far. So I think that defensively, they absolutely can survive without him. Will it make it harder on them? Totally. But I think they're capable of doing it. So I think all four of those boxes are checked. And if the suitor comes to the table, you're not crazy to think that he's the easiest guy for them to say, yep, let's do it. Sign the papers.
Yeah, and Harold has 4 sacks on the season. It's not like they have a bunch as a team. And like, how Titans would it be to trade away Harold Landry when he is 6.5 sacks away from the franchise record? Like
DeAndre?
That's,
or like Derek. I mean, like Derek.
Yes. Like Derrick Henry is so close to 10,000 yards, and he goes and does it for the Ravens.
Get him out. Get him out of here.
All the NFL aggregators like Baltimore Ravens running back Derrick Henry goes for 10K.
Another record for the Ravens.
Yes. And so, Harold Landry has 45.5 sacks, and Javon Curse, the franchise leader, with 52 sacks.
Hey, here's an interesting question, by the way. She didn't pose it as a question, but I think it's an interesting one from Patricia here. Who do you think yields more in a trade?
Patricia, by the way.
Patricia, I'm sorry, I read that very quickly. I'm so sorry, Patricia.
No, it's okay. I don't think she's wrong.
In terms of Landry getting more than D-Hop, I think just age alone dictates that, right? I think in terms of impact this year, I do feel strongly that DeAndre Hopkins would be a bigger impact to any potential contender than Landry would. But if a team is looking for not just a 1-year rental, but somebody that they could, build with longer term, it is Landry. And so from a trade value standpoint, I think you might get the same, if not more, for Landry that you would for Hopkins, which would surprise some people, I think. But I think that's the reality of it.
Yeah, I mean, a guy who's 32 coming off of a torn MCL who looks healthy versus a guy who's still good at what he does and is very healthy.
But is
like,
if you
go look at Harold's like last 13 games or something. Like last year, he came in from the ACL.
He got over the hump of the ACL, right?
Yeah, he's like the edge rusher version of Tony Pollard. It's the second half of last season was phenomenal, and the first part of this season is good. 4 sacks.
Right. Turns out the only thing wrong with him was tearing his ACL.
Yes, yeah. The only thing wrong with Tony Pollard was breaking his leg in half in a playoff game
in the same year that they brought him back. Right, exactly,
right.
The same calendar year.
So I think Harold Landry is definitely the most tradable guy they have. Now, does it happen? I think it absolutely does. I think it happens. I think if there's one guy that I'm the most confident in being
moved, we should bet that. Where's that market?
Oh, I don't know. BetMGM probably doesn't do that because I don't know what the demand is of people betting on trades, especially for
Harold Landry, right?
Well, yeah, for Harold Landry, trade market bets are not really rolling in. I think that's where Vegas loses, which is why they don't have the market open. If Vegas doesn't have it available, it's because they don't think they can win.
That's right.
So let's go through some of these others because we've got a lot of players to get to on are they tradable and is it going to happen? Mm-hmm. And so we've gone through Hopkins, we've gone through Jeff, and we've gone through Landry. Those are the 3 most tradable assets I think the Titans currently have. Another guy that got brought up by somebody by some people in the chat, I think is an interesting one too. And that is Ernest Jones. Kind of like DeAndre Hopkins. He's on an expiring contract and he's been playing very well. The Titans just traded for him. And he's got 39 tackles. I think we can see him flash out there. I like Ernest Jones a ton. I think he would be, and I tweeted this, Ernest Jones is a guy that this fan base and this community falls in absolute love with,
Mhm.
but you haven't done anything to make sure that he's here long term. So is Ernest Jones a tradable player? It's an inside linebacker. It's a different type of positional value.
Yeah, I don't think he's tradable because I don't think you're getting anything for him.
Okay.
Inside linebackers are a dime a dozen in today's NFL. That's been proven out. There's a reason why the Rams are so willing to move off of their best defensive player because you can get them in the draft at a relative bargain. Usually they come in and the drafting team develops them up and they're kind of shaky, and then by the time they're ready for a second contract, they don't get much because they were shaky on their rookie contract. But that's when they start to turn into a real monster. So just like the whole dynamics of the value of the position are wonky and not conducive to like a successful trade, in my opinion.
Okay.
Well, I mean, what would you get for Ernest right now?
Well, I mean, you would get a day 3 pick, right? But like in like that's what you kind of gave up for.
I think it's a 7. Like, I don't think it's a day 3 pick. I think it's a 7th round pick.
Sure. And so Jay said, why would you trade Jones? I think it's
looking for any value you could possibly get off this team.
If Rand Carthon and this coaching staff do not want to extend Ernest Jones, then
that's fair. If they have no plans of doing it, but like, I don't know why they wouldn't have any plans of doing it.
I agree. They have whatever their future salary cap plan is. Does Ernest Jones fit into it? Because you're paying Kenneth Murray what you're paying him,
right?
Right. And do you want to pay another linebacker who is better than Kenneth Murray, who
significantly,
and you're gonna have to pay him more? Like that's like $20 million a year on your inside linebackers.
Oh, combined. I was like, what
combined.
Are you talking about? Okay, yeah.
If Kenneth is getting 8-ish to 9-ish,
right,
or 7 or whatever, Ernest is gonna get more. You're close. I mean, you're not at 20, but you're close. That's a lot of money tied into 2 inside linebackers, where a lot of the time you might just have one guy on the field. So that's why you would trade him.
Yeah, Andre's like getting back value like you're about to go to jail. Yeah, you've totaled the car, you're partsing it out to take anything. Yeah, sure, you can have this Fender, $3. Yeah,
you're selling your iPhone so you can pay your bail money.
That's exactly. Yeah, I got a bike. You need a bike?
you might need anything. I got a lunchbox. So all right, so those are just to kind of recap of the 4 players of the 7 players we've talked about or going to talk about. Right. Those are the 4 that I think are tradable. They answer, are they tradable? Yes. D-Hop, Jeff, Harold, and Ernest Jones are, I think, tradable. Do they have a buyer? That is a different conversation, but I think they're tradable for the Titans. Right. I want to get to 3 guys that I do not think are tradable really at all.
By the way, Kenneth asks, is Murray on a 2-year deal? Yes. 2-year, $18 million deal for Murray. So he's around 1 more year.
And he's going to be more expensive on the cap next year than he is this year.
Correct.
So that makes it more complicated for re-signing Ernest Jones, which I think they should do. I think you should bring back. I think you should have both of them next year. But who knows what they're planning?
Yes.
All right, let's get to these other 3 guys real quick. I want to tell you guys that you can be a part of the solution to end littering across Tennessee. There's over 88 million pieces of litter across the state. That's ridiculous.
My goodness.
Absolutely ridiculous. And TDOT spends $23 million a year to clean it up. Still a problem. You can join the forces to help end littering in Tennessee by going to nobodytrashestennessee.com and joining one of their already organized cleanups. You log in, you sign up, you show up, and you help clean up the state whichever community you are in. It's a great opportunity for maybe your kids to have some volunteer experience, doing something that's easy, that's good for the community, good for the environment. It helps out TDOT and helps us save money as a state. NobodyTrashesTennessee.com is the website to join the campaign. Once again, NobodyTrashesTennessee.com.
Folks, the only thing better than watching the Titans is making money on watching the Titans. Our friends at BetMGM know this, and they're going to give you up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if you simply sign up using our bonus code ATOZ Sports. That's right, $1,500 back in bonus bets. If you sign up using this code ATOZ Sports, you can rest assured your first bet is insured. You'll get that money back if it does not hit. That is what our friends over at BetMGM are willing to do for you. BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Go sign up now.
All right, so we're going to go through 3 Titans players that I think we wish were tradable, but they're just simply not. Okay. And so where do you want to start with big money here, or do you want to start with like very little money here? He said, I'll let you drive.
Let's do small fry and work our way up.
All right, small fry guy. This guy, Traylon Burks.
A big small fry.
I think everybody wishes that Traylon Burks was tradable.
Sure.
But there is nothing.
I wish I could dunk.
You're 24, right?
Yeah.
Last time I dunked, I was 24 years old.
So last time I dunked was never.
All right. On the 8-foot goal when you were 13, maybe.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you lower that goal, it's Slam City, but
Traylon Burks is not tradable at all because
I think Traylon Burks could probably dunk, but he can't be traded.
He might fall and hurt himself.
Dunk once. Yeah.
And so Titans Cows, could you get a snack pack for him? Like you're not going to get anything. Oh my God, dude.
No. I mean, I know what a literal snack pack. I'm saying in this metaphor, what would a snack pack be?
An actual snack pack.
Yeah. No, I know what a literal snack pack is.
Yeah, I'm glad. I was about to freak out. Traylon Burks has a tradable contract.
Mm-hmm.
It's not much. It's like $2.5 million that they would be taking on, and you would decline his 5th-year option, so you get him for this season and next season, and see if you can resurrect his career. But
Austin, there's only one missing ingredient in this stew, and it's a good player.
Yeah, like nobody
if he was good. It'd be a super trade. If he was even like average, it'd be a super tradable contract.
So over the summer, we were asked a lot before you started here. I'm sure you had people asking you like, should the Titans trade Traylon Burks? Mm-hmm. And the answer was like, no, why would they trade away the depth when they finally have depth? Kind of the same thing we talked about with Dillon Radins earlier in the show. Mm-hmm. Dillon Radins is actually doing something. Traylon Burks is not. And
well, he's out there. He is doing something.
Yeah, but he's not doing
converting anything. 4th downs, Austin. How
man. And could you
crazy
imagine?
Play, by the way. I can't believe we haven't talked about that. Outrageous gonads to call that play. Yeah. But anyways.
But like, do you see, I mean, is there any hindsight 2020 on trading Traylon Burks and missing out potential value before the season started because he has no value?
No, because like the argument now is you can't trade him because he has no value. And you're looking back and saying in the summer, the argument was, why would you trade away the depth right now? I don't know if y'all were saying this, but at least I was saying the argument then was, why would you trade away the depth now? And also, he has no value. You weren't going to get anything for him then either. I mean, like it would be more than you get now. Then you could probably get a 6th or 7th round pick for him. But now, and now it's like, 7th or nothing, probably nothing. Or like a, 28 7th or something outrageous. So I don't think it's like, oh, I can't believe they didn't do it when they did, because you wouldn't have gotten, it's not like there was a 3rd round pick on the table for you in May if you were willing to part with Traylon Burks. This is not going to, yeah. I mean, you're getting his contemporaries like Jahan Dotson in his same draft class, traded for a 3rd round pick to the Eagles. Everybody panned them for that. Like, what are you doing, Howie Roseman? But I don't think you were getting that for him. Not anywhere close.
No, you would get a draft pick whose rookie year would be in the new stadium.
Right? Sure. Yeah. Probably.
But I'm joking. I'm not joking.
I know. Probably.
2027 5th rounder for Traylon Burks. I mean,
rack him up.
He's just he is a waste of space, and he caught the 4th down conversion.
So brutal.
I can't believe they drew that up.
Hey, nobody saw it coming, Austin.
It was the perfect long con. And he still barely got any separation. That's the crazy. It was a contested catch, and nobody saw it coming.
It was the world's widest zone. Yeah.
And then he got hurt. Like he was banged up after that.
Because that's what happens. He fell catching the ball, and then he's like a disposable player. Like you can use him once a game, and you burn it. It's over. You know what I mean? So.
And then later on, he was rushing punts.
I love how much he bothers you. The visceral bothersomeness.
It's
just
I don't understand why he is so bad. Like, why is he so bad? Why can't
some guys just don't have it, man? Some guys have all the tools and they just don't got it. Have you met? Can I introduce you to Billy Jeans? Have you met William Levis?
Oh, others, yeah. Yeah, but Will Levis, like I can feel that he wants it. Like I see.
That's fair. The want to is fair.
Where
totally.
Like what my biggest problem with Traylon Burks this entire time is there is zero urgency. He has
Mm.
no urgency to do anything. And
Just kinda
that
coasting
that
through life,
bothers me.
baby.
Like,
Coasting.
does he feel any pressure to live up to a first round pick? Does he feel any responsibility for that? And like, that's where I'm bothered, because if I were Traylon Burks, I would feel like I was letting people down, and it was my responsibility to do something legitimate for this team because of what they invested in me. And I don't feel that or see that from him. And
Yeah, I mean,
that's what is in my crawl.
it's not fair though. Like, he didn't sign up for that responsibility. He was thrust into it.
That's sure, but you
And so I
should
think
have.
that's kind of his perspective, is like, it's not my job to live up to these unfair expectations.
Yeah, but
But that's on the
still
team,
getting the
not on
money
me.
back for it. You're getting paid for it. Like, they're paying you the first round pick contract. They're paying you for the 18th overall pick. So you got
They're
that in
paying
your
him.
pocket.
They're paying him to do what the coaches ask him to do, and he's
No,
doing
they're
what they're
not.
asking him to do.
No, they're paying him the same amount of money that they're paying him. They paid him less money than Justin Jefferson got from the Vikings for a rookie deal. How about that? How about that craziness? And Justin Jefferson went out there and earned $35 million a year because he's a baller. And Traylon Burks got paid more than that dude in his first 3 years. Like, give me a freaking break. Like, Traylon Burks is pocketing that money that they invested him. He absolutely has responsibility to live up to that because he's being paid for it. That's why I'm pissed about it.
Yeah, you can tell I've been over it. Yeah, my soul is at peace in this situation. I wish nothing but peace upon your soul, brother Austin, because clearly this still bothers you deep inside.
It does.
Maybe one day you will find peace.
All right.
Anyways, some other players that are actually tradable, perhaps.
More untradeable players that you probably wish were tradable.
Less untradeable, though.
I don't know. I think this guy's more untradeable than Traylon Burks.
That's, you know what? If
Ridley,
if we do this about the finances, then he's more tradable. But if you open your eyes and look at that contract,
look, Calvin Ridley is not tradable because there's so much money on a contract that nobody's taking it. And I like Calvin Ridley as a receiver. I side with Calvin Ridley's rant post game. Give him the damn ball early in the game to let him feel the game so he can perform for you in the fourth quarter on 3rd and 8 when you're down 3 and you need him. Mm-hmm. But like when he's out there cold because he's setting screens and blocking for you for 2 hours, it's not like you give him the ball, man. Like, he is not tradable. Did they overpay for him? I still don't think they did because of the position, and he is still dropping in highest paid receiver lists because more guys keep getting crazy money.
I'm with you.
But he is just not tradable because of the current contract.
Right. I in terms of being out on the vision for Burks, I'm 100% with you. I don't think they overpaid for him. I think we're still too early on. The book is not written on the did I say Burks? The Calvin Ridley situation in Tennessee, the Calvin Ridley tenure in Tennessee. You look at the advanced metrics, it's not a Calvin can't get open issue. It's not a Calvin can't catch contested balls issue. It's not. I tweeted in training camp and it gained a lot of traction with Jags fans. I said, I watching Calvin Ridley has me convinced the Jaguars organization is it's full of morons because they don't know how to get this very talented player the ball. And a lot of Jaguars fans have caught that and been like, well, what now? What now? I stand by that. Let me just add to it. I now am slowly being convinced the Titans organization is a bunch of morons because they can't seem to get the ball to this
but they're
very
different
talented
people,
player.
That's the crazy thing.
I know. I'm just saying.
They're
I think
morons.
The people using him in Jacksonville were morons, and now the people using him in Tennessee are proving themselves to kind of be morons because I don't think it's the player. I've watched the player operate. I'm watching him on Sundays. He's not perfect by any means, but is he a very good player? Yes. They just
what's the common denominator between the Jags not being able to use him last year and the Titans not being able to use him this year?
Nicholas Holtz.
I don't think Nick Holtz is the problem. I don't think Nick Holtz is like.
It's funny to point that out.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
but that's not the reason. But it is very, very ironic. Look, it's a tough.
He's
spot.
Not tradable.
No, he's not tradable. Nobody
wants him. It's also a sell low spot. I mean, you'll talk about getting jobbed. You'd get nothing for him right now.
Just like L'Jarius Sneed, same situation. Not
sell low
tradable.
spot. Yep.
Not tradable at all.
Nope.
And look, Sneed's
And
been bad.
Let's be clear. Like, these two guys aren't part of the fire sale conversation, I don't think, in terms of guys that like we've lost faith in them going forward. No, the Titans paid them a lot of money, and organizationally, they still have very high hopes and expectations for L'Jarius Sneed and Calvin Ridley. They're not out on these guys.
And I think L'Jarius Sneed has probably played really good football for like 80% of his snaps. And that could be higher than that.
I'm working on a film piece for him. I've watched every snap of his season so far in the last 48 hours. He has
what
played.
What percentage is good football from Sneed?
So
roughly,
like you're pretty right on. It's like 3/4 ish. 75% of it is good football. Like a quarter of that, 3/4 is great football. You know, the L'Jarius Sneed be paid for football. And then the other 25 that we're leaving out here is
getting beat deep for like 40 yards and having the quarterback overthrow it.
Is confusing and simply not good enough. Yeah, it's kind of moving a little bit funny and I don't want to spoil the story. So check that out on A to Z Sports here in the next couple of days. But
I like that.
We'll have that eventually.
And so like I think Sneed and Ridley can overcome their early Titans struggles.
Completely agree.
Traylon Burks is not. So to kind of talk about the three untradeable players, it is a wrap. All right,
is that
super
all of them?
chats. Yeah, that's all the 7. Right. Super chats to get to. So we went through. If you missed earlier, we talked about 4 tradable players, 3 untradeable players for the Titans as the NFL trade deadline is coming up in just under 3 weeks. Super chats. Jeffrey says the offense has only been good under Rudolph. Bench Levis, let Rudolph play. If you get to 5-5 before the divisional games, then the season is salvageable. Salvageable for what?
What's the end game here, Jeffrey?
I mean, you're talking about having to go win 4 out of 5 against the Bills, Lions, Patriots, Chargers, Vikings.
I see 2.5 winnable games in there. I don't know about 4.
Yeah.
If you want to go full Steelers and get into the playoffs with a Mason Rudolph and then get blown out in the first week and then just feel good about yourself, then sure. But I don't think that's the goal.
Justin Fields or Russell Wilson will probably be available next year if you want to go full Steelers with Mason Rudolph.
There's a couple of interesting dual quarterback. I mean, the Vikings, who are they sticking with next year?
Probably the guy they drafted really high.
Probably, but
Andre, 2 years ago, I called Burks Casper the Ghost, and then he became the melted milk dud at the bottom of the box. Should have moved him at last year's deadline.
It's kind of a bar. Melted milk dud at the bottom of the box.
Yeah, Andre, at last year's trade deadline, I want to say this is where the Titans get screwed at last year's trade deadline. If you remember this, Easton, they played Sunday against the Falcons after a bye week.
Yep.
And that was the Will Levis crazy baller game.
Mm-hmm.
The trade deadline was Tuesday, and they played at Pittsburgh Thursday.
Right. It was really tough timing.
Yeah. That's pretty. So anybody who plays the Thursday after the trade deadline, you're just kind of screwed. To be honest, as a buyer and you have to do your work early. I think that's the hard part about the Titans is that they didn't want to trade early because they had London, they had a bye week, and Tannehill was hurt, and now you're going to go with Levis. But you don't want to trade any of the receivers before you see Levis. And then Levis throws 4 touchdowns against Atlanta. So you're not going to trade anything until and then it's too late. And Traylon Burks gets severely concussed, excuse me.
There you go. Are you severely concussed?
Maybe. No, just minor. But he gets severely concussed on Thursday night in Pittsburgh, and you're kind of stuck.
Yeah. It's tough. But listen, I mean, you got teams right now working 3 weeks ahead. So if you want it, it's there. Go get it.
Yeah, for sure. I saw you favorited 2 other comments too. Do you want to get to those before we get to trivia?
I just wanted to mention Jesse said this conversation really sucks, which it does. Nobody wanted to have this conversation.
We didn't want to have this conversation today. We wanted to have it like next week, but
we had a plan for today as of yesterday. And then
the old plan will be tomorrow.
That's right. We're getting to that plan.
I think.
And then once again, talking about my coffee drinking habits. It's not a glass. It's a Tervis. It keeps it. It's like it's a clear version of the thing you put your coffee in. I'd imagine. But yes, I am. Thank you for noticing.
And you can drink coffee from a glass mug if you wanted. All right.
Ceramic. Yeah.
Let's go ahead and try to be better this week in some sports trivia.
We're going to be.
Shout out to Wilson County Hyundai, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon. Say hey to Payne Bone for us at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Easton, are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, graphic time.
I'm so confident. I'm so confident that today we're going to turn it around here. Chat, we need you locked in with us here, so help us out.
Okay, so
get those typing fingers ready.
Before we get going, we're going to start. We're going to start with NFL like we always do.
Yep.
Then we're going to. I'm waiting for somebody in the chat to say a category, and then we'll just kind of go from that area on the board. Waiting for a category. You guys are having other conversations.
Confidence level is a 2 for trivia, Jake said.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for a category. Movies. Okay. So movies comes in from Rooney and Matt. So we're going to go NFL, then movies, then we'll just knock out the bottom and we'll go from there. All right. Easton, when you read the question, let's read it more slow.
Yeah. I get a little excited.
Yeah.
I'll slow down.
So be quick. Don't hurry.
That's right. Are we ready?
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. NFL. The Dolphins drafted this 6'7" offensive tackle out of Michigan with the number 1 overall pick of the 2008 NFL draft.
Is this
Tunsil?
No.
Too early.
This was Jake Long.
That sounds right.
Wasn't it? I think don't hit enter yet.
I won't yet. That sounds right though. Chat, can we get confirmation?
Yeah,
yep.
Jake Long.
Chat.
Okay.
Cool. Movies. 2014 Disney animated film won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature and starred the character Baymax, an inflatable robot. That would be Big Hero 6.
I'm glad you know that.
Yep. Television, debuting in 2011, the original 4 full-time coaches on The Voice were Blake Shelton, CeeLo Green, Adam Levine, and this female singer. That would be Christina Aguilera.
No, are you sure?
I'm positive. Chat, I mean, we can verify with the
was
chat.
Was it not
positive Christina?
Wow.
Blake's wife now?
No, Kelly Clarkson.
No, it was Aguilera. I'm positive.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
Music. Released in 66 and 91 respectively, the Beach Boys and Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch each had a number 1 hit song that shared this same song title. Oh, interesting. Number 1 hit song that shared a title.
Marky Mark and the Funky Boys.
I don't know many Marky Mark songs, but Beach Boys, I'm trying to think.
Good
Good Vibrations?
Yeah.
Okay, that's obviously, I know that's right on the... All right, good so far. Let's go NBA here. After playing alongside Michael Jordan and winning titles with the Bulls, Horace Grant played for this Eastern Conference team from 94 to 99. Going to need
I believe that is the Orlando Magic. Let's wait for the chat
confirmation there. Chat. Jordan and Horace Grant. Or excuse me, Horace Grant playing for this Eastern Conference team. Magic. Cool. All right. Prior to 24, the last time the Mets went to the NLCS was in 2015 when they swept by which team? Oh, man.
I don't know.
Need Sam in here or
Sam is in New York.
I know. JT would know. My boy JT. Get in the chat there. Help us out. I know that they were swept in 2015. I just don't know by what team. Royals? Yes, that totally. I know that's right. No, really? Shoot. Nobody in the chat. People are confused too.
We got some Phillies coming in.
All right.
A lot of Royals though.
I really thought it was. I mean, they won somewhere in there. In 24, this alcohol brand collaborated with LeBron James to release special edition. It's a Hennessy drink. But what brand? I know it's Hennessy.
Isn't Hennessy a brand?
Is it the brand Hennessy? I mean, I don't know enough about Hennessy to know if it's a brand. I thought it was a type of drink.
Hennessy's gin.
Hennessy? Is it literally just Hennessy? I mean,
hold on. Somebody said Rogaine. What's the
is it
brand?
Hennessy? It is Hennessy. It's Hennessy. Yeah.
Okay.
Celeb mashups. Okay, that's
Sprite was a good answer too.
This is obviously Clooney and
cognac.
Not a mall. Give me George. I can't type.
It's okay.
Who's the other person though?
Is it
Adam Peters? Chat, is it Adam Peters?
The Commanders GM?
Or not different Peters. Something Peters. He American
Peter
Horror Story.
Dinklage?
Oh.
No.
I think it's Evan Peters. Evan. Yeah.
Who
That's
is
his
Evan Peters?
American Horror Story fame.
People.
Can I select Evan Peters, please? This ad's in the way. This happens every time.
There you go.
There we go.
Oh, we got it.
The power to do more has been a slogan used by this technology brand. It's IBM or no, Intel or
You do more.
slogan for computers. The power to do more.
More.
Commercials all the time here. The power
to do more.
It's like it's something Intel or IBM, something in there. Dell? Intel? I mean, either of those sounds right to me.
IBM sound. Man, we're getting Dell, Intel, and IBM answers.
It's one of the three. I'm very confident it's one of the three. We're getting mostly Dell answers so far. Is somebody super confident in Dell? If so, please raise your hand. A lot of Dells in here. That sounds right to me.
We can't miss it. Intel is what's
not
inside.
Intel.
That's good. That's good.
That's right. It's what's inside. So it's either Dell or IBM. A lot of Dells, Austin.
Go Dell. Go Dell. Oh.
We were right.
Okay. MLB.
Was it the Phillies?
Phillies got the most.
Are we confident in Phillies?
No. All right. So read the question again for the chat.
So prior to 2024, the last time the Mets went to the NLCS,
people saying Cubs.
15. Cubs. In all caps, Cubs. People are okay. It's Cubs.
People are screaming at us for the Cubs.
Cubs. All right. Hey, that's a get right game. Not our best performance, but that's good. Close to 5 flat. 1 wrong. That's a step in the right direction for the program, I think.
It is a step in the correct direction. It's still not where we want to be, but you gotta keep chopping away.
That's right.
So
when we get time.
Yeah. I got nothing else.
It's not a gin, it's a cognac. I should have known to correct you on that. Gin is a clear liquor.
Yeah, I don't drink Hennessy. I drink mostly vodka.
I think people can look at us and know we don't drink Hennessy.
All right. That's it for us on this Wednesday. Got meetings to get to. Hope you guys have a great start to your Wednesday. And we'll be back for a Thursday show here to talk more Titans. We'll actually talk more about on the field, not trades tomorrow, unless more things happen. So we'll see you guys later on. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out. I appreciate it as always. Buck Rising live tonight for A to Z Primetime at 7. We'll catch you later. Appreciate it as always.